While Her Majesty Meghan, Queen of California, concentrates on homemade jam and her exciting new brand of rosé wine, her hapless husband, Prince Harry, appears to be turning into one of those needy celebrities who'll show up to the opening of an envelope. You name the awards ceremony and the desperate Duke of Sussex is likely to be there, usually without Meghan, who seems rather more selective about the Hollywood occasions with which she graces her regal presence. But is former military man Prince Harry really going to go through with accepting an honour expressly against the wishes of the mother of a late great American war hero? Wouldn't that be tone deaf on an epic scale? Will Harry actually ignore the pleas of heartbroken mum Mary Tillman, who does not believe the British royal is the right person to be handed the Pat Tillman Award at ESPN's Excellence in Sports Performance yearly gala for his alleged tireless work, I'm quoting here, tireless work in making a positive impact for the veteran community through the power of sport. Still mourning the loss of her courageous son, who died serving his country in Afghanistan after shelving a glittering £3 million a year American football career, seething Mary stormed, "I am shocked as to why they would select such a controversial and divisive individual to receive the award." She says this very special honour should go to people who, and again I'm quoting, do not have the money, resources, connections or privilege that Prince Harry has. Sadly, I fear that Mary does not understand that all too often irrelevant famous faces are what makes the awards industry world go round. And Harry has form for lending his unique status to minor gatherings trying hard to get noticed. Straight after dashing to London to see his cancer-stricken dad, Charles, the jet-setting prince flew to Vegas to present Pittsburgh Steelers defender Cam Hayward with the Walter Payton Man of the Year honour. As his father was fighting for his life, Harry was in Sin City cracking jokes about Americans stealing rugby from the British. Then, of course, there was Harry's bemusing appearance at the Living Legends of Aviation Awards, where he was hilariously elevated to the ranks of the all-time great super pilots who have ruled the skies. No one would deride the former royal soldier's bravery flying helicopters in Afghanistan. But does that really qualify him to stand with the likes of the first man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, and former world airspeed record holder Steve Hinton? But there Harry was at the star-studded event at the Beverly Hills Hilton, beaming as he received his trophy from host John Travolta. Here, in line with the gushing guff surrounding his controversial ESPN gong, the Duke of Netflix was hailed as, I quote, "a humanitarian, military veteran, mental wellness advocate and environmentalist." Is Harry embarrassed by this ludicrous OTT praise, or does he revel in it? You decide. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, a major development. Add to the many items we may someday be able to purchase on Meghan's curiously inactive lifestyle site, American Riviera Orchard, rosé wine, which might help anaesthetise customers to the painful price of everything else. Launched 5 months ago, Ms. Markle's online store has yet to put a single thing up for sale. Let's hope she opens for business real soon. Then we can toast her big moment with a glass of Chateau Meg. Cheers! Well, Samara, his mother is begging ESPN not to give it to Harry. Surely Harry isn't going to be quite so tone-deaf under the circumstances as to accept this honour.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Pat Tillman, obviously, he's got an insanely inspirational life story. After 9/11, obviously, he joined the army and he gave his life, the biggest sacrifice you can make for his country. Harry, on the other hand, has done the complete opposite. Harry has left his country in the dust. He was obviously birthright, given a big opportunity to have such a platform, to be a veteran and to be there for the fellow veteran. He was a veteran, to be there for the fellow veterans. But he hasn't actually done that. It's actually really sad when I think about the opportunities that Harry has given up to sort of be sipping his rosé in Montecito. No, but I mean, it's the truth, because he could have been, you know, he could have been like the founder of something like the Duke of Edinburgh Award, like his grandfather. He could have been doing really good things for veterans, but instead he's taking positions from really what should be given to American soldiers, in my opinion, and he's sort of vouching for a bit of ignorance. I mean, Meghan and Harry, they'll go to the opening of a letter at this point.
They've made a mistake, and Mary Tillman, who is a formidable woman, by the way, she is not going to let this happen. As I say, if Harry is so blinded by the bright lights of Hollywood, oh, look, I got another award, aren't I great? No, you're just a member of the royal family. But if he goes ahead with this, it's going to be the mistake of his life, I think.
Well, yeah, you're completely right, and we're actually missing the point. You say that, oh, it's bad optics, you know, Harry can't accept it, Harry wasn't behind this. It's as simple as them putting out a statement to say, hey, thank you for presenting me with this award, but I'm not going to accept it on the wishes of his mother. But no, Harry's not doing that, and I'd really love to know why.
That's a very good point. And
yeah, why is he not saying, sorry, I won't take this opportunity?
Unfortunately, I don't have a hotline to Harry and Meghan. I know that everybody out there thinks I do.
Yeah,
I just don't happen to think they're as bad as everybody paints.
Meghan's rosé. This is the latest item you can't buy from American Riviera Orchard. 5 months ago, she launched that bloody site, and still you can't buy a damn thing from it. But she has added now rosé wine. I wonder what that will taste like. Oh, you know what they call it in America, don't they? Blush.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with a lot of her products is that they're not, like, able to be mass-produced. I was looking at the jam and, like, who's actually putting those sort of tops on the jam? Who's cutting the little fabric that she puts? I'm just really concerned about her production lines. I think that they're not able to actually... No, I am concerned, because it's like,
she's
how
like
is
in the factory.
Is she in the factory? Is she in her mansion sort of, like, putting tops on jars? I actually don't think that they've really thought through this process, and they keep teasing us with these weird little gimmicks.
So, she's just finished filming her cooking show for Netflix. That would be crap, wouldn't it?
No. Why would it be crap?
I mean,
I'm really sorry. I just don't believe that you lie awake worrying about Meghan's production line.
I'm saying that could be a reason why she can't put anything on the shelf.
Listen, I think that as a marketing exercise goes, it's really good.
No, because you have to actually sell something.
No, you drip
What is she going to do? Market forever?
You drip feed the products one by one. Everybody talks about them one by one.
Drip feed involves selling them, but yeah.
And then ultimately you launch and everything's there for people to have a look at. I think she's incredibly...
Stupid?
No.
Boring?
Yeah.
No.
Pathetic?
No, I don't think she's any of those things.
Narcissistic?
There may be a little bit of that there. But I think she's
the dreariest person.
I think she's quite astute. I think we're talking about, every week we've talked about the jam, we've talked about the dog biscuits, now we're talking about the blush, the rosé. Yeah. She's doing a very good job of marketing.
Astute, yeah. Hey, my career's going nowhere. I know, I'll marry a prince.
Well, she's doing quite well about it. Everybody's talking about her.
She married upwards,
She's doing so well that she's having to produce little pots of jam to pay for the mortgage at Montecito.
Listen, they've left the royal family. As I said last week, they're not on the civil list. They do what they need to do to earn the money that they
hustle.
need to...
Hustle. Yeah, we'll sell some stuff then. How about that?
Hustle by ripping awards off veterans, selling little...
By the way, you owe Thomas Markle Sr. an apology. You called him a narcissistic piece of shit last week. And I think that was a bit over the top, Simon.
I do not like Thomas Markle, and I do not like the way... I do not like the way he emotionally blackmails his daughter. But you know something? I offended a lot of people by saying that, and I'm sorry that I gave offence and I probably went too far. But I think that sort of the way that he says, I will stop selling stories when they come and...
selling stories.
He does sell stories.
Not selling
That's
stories.
What he said.
By the way, can I just say something? Because I know both Thomas Markles watch this show.
Do they?
Thomas Markle Sr. and Thomas Markle Jr.
Hey, Tom.
And to Thomas Markle Jr., who keeps complaining because I call him a dope dealer. Thomas... You're a legal dope dealer. You're still selling, as I understand it, you grow legal cannabis and you sell it. There's nothing wrong with that. So saying dope dealer does not inherently mean you're breaking the law. So you see, you've got to get on track here. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to do you down for running a perfectly legal business.
There's a lot of other things.
Anyway, shut up. Let's go to a bad ad.
In Alice Springs, chicken means just one thing: tasty and hot to go. How can you resist with our new home delivery service?
Wishbone chicken.
For one, or to feed the whole family.
Chicken made the way Mom used to. Wishbone chicken, tasty barbecue. Wishbone chicken.
A delicious meal, as good as home cooking. For deliveries, phone Wishbone Chicken, 529 555.
Did you? Oh no, you don't eat meat, do you?
I've never had meat before.
Did you ever have the fries?
Yeah. No,
the fries?
No, I was not. I have, but it's great. Home delivery. It flies to you through the ravine to get there.
Through the ravine.
Yeah.
The ravine.
Did you not see the ad? I mean, it literally that.
Where would you like your Wishbone chicken delivered? Just south of the ravine, please.
I love the fact that sort of back in Australia, like we've been taking the mickey out of Australia for all this time, and yet they had Deliveroo before us, and the kids said trampolines in the garden.
I'm not sure that is Deliveroo. That's Wishbone.
Just Wishbone
in-house service.
Okay.
It looked terrible, by the way.
I just like the little kid. The chicken was bigger than the kid.
Wishbone chicken slurry. I believe it's time for the mailbag and all the praise that's been gushing in for me throughout the week. So what do you got, Simon?
Well, I should imagine after last week and my Thomas Markle comments that these are going to be great. Oh, Captain Nathan. I don't agree with Simon, but I like him. He seems like a very nice person. I am Nathan.
That's not true.
Plus, he has a really good sense of humour. I do, Nathan. He's head and shoulders above his predecessor, but hell, Kevin is just my favourite.
There you go. I knew I'd like Nathan in here.
There.
When they say that you've got a good sense of humour, you do actually produce a lot of laughs because we all laugh at you. So you're funny, but you don't quite know it. What you got, Samara?
Frida says Simon is a moron and talks through his backside. Australian. What Australian? I don't understand what that is. Confident about.
I have no words, but I do love this one. This one is brilliant.
Finally.
This is still great, though. I'm surprised Kevin's wife told him to be nice to Simon. Surely she doesn't watch or listen to this after putting up with Kevin all week. Blue Bougainvillea, that's great.
Yeah, well, she's currently very pissed off with me because I keep shouting about everything. See, the thing is, you see this show and you think, oh, he puts on this angry act. It's not. It's 24/7. Yeah. What have you got next, Samara?
So Alicia basically echoes the sentiment that I said last week. Simon is a moron and biased. But I do wonder how Simon would feel if his daughter that he put his heart and soul into and supported financially and raised her turned her back on him. Simon is ridiculous. Simon is as bad as JJ.
You're getting a lot. You're getting a lot of moron action tonight.
You're getting a lot of moron action, and I think it's healthy to
be a moron.
It's healthy to have a different sense, But if everybody agreed with everybody, it would be a boring world.
Well, that's why you're on the show, for the moron's perspective.
As S.H. Thomas says, Simon, I appreciate you need a paycheck. I don't get paid for this. So there, I believe this.
Yeah.
So this one's from Shelley. Thank you, Samara, for representing Australia so perfectly. Simon, lovely, but just argues for the sake of arguing. Kevin, what can I say? I love you. Shelley's on the money.
I'm loving the fact we're bringing Australia into this with their adverts and with our resident down under beauty here.
I tell you, it's all about the Aussies today because this is Laura Stevens who says, thanks, guys, for reading out my comments.
Oh, there you go, Laura.
Love you all and can't wait for this programme each Sunday morning. Never miss it and I have a lot of laughs. No wokeness here, just good old banter with no feelings hurt. Well done from Australia once again.
Do you know what's great about that is it comes out on Saturday morning, but they're so far ahead. Yeah. Actually, we're putting out Saturday afternoon now, so that would be about right.
Right.
Yeah.
Sunday
Laura knows
morning
her
in
stuff.
Australia. Yeah. It's a global show, folks. Get with the programme.
Christy said, I won't watch this programme if you ever have that horrible JJ on again.
Yeah. Well, I think you're all right there.
Yeah, I think
you're all right there.
Shelley didn't. Christy didn't quite get the memo.
I'm just so amazed at how many people in the comments just think I'm JJ, and it just says so much about those people in the comments.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
You're both morons.
This Simon, says Maria Vargas, just shows us all how delusional woke people are.
Yeah, you are a sort of woke, delusional moron. I think that sums up the messages we've had about you today. And that you're just as hateful as JJ. So on that bombshell, it's time for a real ad. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. Now, we need to talk about Joe. We need to get rid of Joe. We need dismal, dire, decrepit Joe to go, go, go. But will he? Don't bet the farm on it. Not while his fanatically loyal cheerleader-in-chief wife, Dr. Gill Biden, continues to cling on to her First Lady status like a woman possessed. Not while the old boy's ex-crack addict son, Hunter Biden, with his oh-so-wise counsel, is busy convincing his doddery dad to stick around by forcing the pratfalling president to stagger on, often horizontally. Gill and Hunter stand accused of elder abuse, but they don't seem to care. And a growing number of Washington insiders insist that, despite his many senior moments, Joe remains the Democrat candidate and will be the most likely name on the ballot paper come Election Day on November the 5th. And, make no mistake, he is more determined than ever, blaming his crushing defeat by Donald Trump in the Atlanta debate debacle on jet lag, even though he hadn't been abroad for a fortnight and had spent the previous 5 days relaxing at Camp David, a 2-hour plane journey away. But dear God, when the cameras started rolling, what a night of horror it was. Within seconds, it was clear we were witnessing an agonizing slow-motion car crash. Disciplined but not especially impressive, Trump looked like a titan of political discourse. Why? Because the other guy was not all there. Mumbling, gurning, incomprehensible, confused. Biden was all of these things and worse. It was frightening when he was speaking, or rather misspeaking, but even more frightening when he wasn't. Mouth gormlessly open, bemused eyes wildly staring, the desperate look on his face screamed, "Where am I? Who am I? What am I doing here?" The journalists and the VIPs who attended the eagerly awaited event at CNN's Atlanta HQ were stunned. Those of us watching 4,000 miles away in Britain were shocked. As the world looked on in open-mouthed astonishment, there was a grim global realization that the 81-year-old President of the United States was confirming our darkest fears, that the most powerful person on the planet is not in possession of his faculties. Whatever you think of Donald Trump, he has never been regarded as intellectually difficult to keep up with. Whispering in a slurring, unintelligible, low growl, Biden found it nigh on impossible. 67% of Americans immediately decided Trump had won every argument by a New York mile, which means that if Joe is still the man on November the 5th, no ifs, no buts, he'll get trounced. Not because everyone loves Trump, but because they know that, unlike his opponent, at least he's not senile. So, to command any chance whatsoever of winning, the Democrats have to find a more plausible potential president than Gaga Joe. The obstacles in their way are enormous. They'd like to circumnavigate the obvious contender, Kamala Harris, possibly the least popular vice president in American history, because she'll lose bigger than Biden. But if they manoeuvre into position plodding California Governor Gavin Newsom, they forfeit $90 million of campaign funds. But either way, Dr. Gill and Hunter are the key. If the dynamic duo can't be persuaded to persuade Joe to step down, it'll be seriously hard to ditch him. The pathetic spectacle of Biden conceding he has deteriorated as a debater and is slower-witted than he used to be was tragic to see. After his shambolic unravelling in front of an estimated 100 million viewers, he was reported to feel humiliated and drained of confidence. Nevertheless, even though he admits that his dulling mind is plummeting downhill fast, Jurassic Joe still fervently believes he's the bumbling octogenarian to beat Trump. And for the panicking Democrats who have for so long covered up for their living fossil president, they're in lies the problem. It is a massive problem, isn't it, Samara, because it isn't that easy to get rid of Joe, and it looks as if they do manage to persuade him to go, they'll end up with Kamala Harris, who'll probably do worse than him.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to find someone on the face of the earth that's probably more unliked than Joe Biden, it would be Kamala Harris. And I think it was interesting, even the White House press secretary this morning came out and said, we chose Kamala Harris to be the vice because she is the future of this country. So even from really within the bowels of power, we're actually seeing that there is this shift towards Kamala, and I just don't understand where they think they're going with this. Because yes, obviously forfeiting the 90 million is going to be a big issue, but forfeiting the actual Democratic Party's hold on the country, that's going to be a bigger issue for them.
The thing is, Simon, that on this side of the Atlantic, around the world, they just go, well, this guy's just not at the races. You know, he's lost his mind. So obviously he's going to have to go. They don't understand the American system. It isn't that obvious. And a lot of really seasoned Washington insiders, political observers, say they won't get rid of him. But it's going so close to the wire that if they do manage to defenestrate this bumbling old geezer, they'll have to bring in Kamala Harris, and she's just shit.
OK, first things first. We need to be nicer about old people. I think the way that we talk about old people...
shut up.
The way that we talk about old people...
Sorry, someone in an old people's home, sure. Not someone who's running the country.
No.
As in that leaked interview today, that leaked thing with Trump. You know, he's going to be talking with Xi. Do we want someone who's that bumbling to actually
let me finish. We need to be nicer to old people. My dad's 90, and I would hate to hear anybody talk about him like that.
However, your dad's not the most powerful man on the face of the planet, is he?
He is in our house.
Yeah. He's got a red button.
However, and much as I hate to do this, I am going to agree with you both again.
Everybody does. I mean, there is no argument.
I'm going to agree with you both again. I think, and I was a big fan of them sort of invoking, I'm not sure which constitutional argument, is it 25th, the 25th Amendment or something, to get rid of Trump. I felt that he should have got rid of when he was in power. I think this smacks of egotism, and that Joe Biden should do the decent thing and step
He's also a bloody liar. He's a bloody liar. He said, oh, the reason I wasn't on top form. Wasn't on top form? You were a disaster, mate. You were a car crash.
Listen.
He says the reason for that is he's jet-lagged. He hasn't been abroad for 2 weeks. He spent the last 5 days before the debate relaxing at Camp David. He's not jet-lagged. And by the way, it's not as if he's in economy on EasyJet. He's got a great big double bed. Absolute crap. He's a liar, as well as everything else. Anyway, this debate, I thought, was very highbrow, and this was one of the really important issues that I think could swing it. So here's Trump and Biden discussing one of the most important facets of the debate.
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag.
I mean, they're both as bad as each other, as far as I'm concerned. They're both terrible candidates, and if that's the best America can do, I feel sorry for them.
I've got to say something here. So Joe Biden, I mean, did you see him? But anyway, he's trying to sort of say, hey, but it's like he inadvertently reveals that he's not much of a hard worker. When I was vice president, I got my handicap down to 6. Well, if you were in the office working, you might not have managed that.
It is not the flex that Biden...
Lazy old sod.
It's not the flex that Biden thinks it is, saying, oh, I got my handicap down to a 6 when I was vice president. It's like, oh, so you're spending all that time on the golf course. I mean, they used to rip Trump to shreds when they would see that he had golfing in his schedule. But look, I think we know what Biden's been doing. That's why he got nothing done under the Obama administration.
Wait there, I need to address two things.
You say we should be kinder to an old man like Biden.
In your monologue, you said he made Trump look like a political titan. So that's kind of admitting that Trump is not. Trump's an idiot. Trump's a liar. Trump played golf all the time. Trump is 10 times worse than Biden. The second thing is... Let me finish.
Not at golf.
Let me finish.
Not at golf.
Trump famously cheats at golf, as he cheats at everything. He famously cheats. Look it up. The other thing that I would say is that these are not people... The debates, as they stand, if you were to go to Americans, we were to ask the Americans who are watching this, will the debates make you change your mind about who to vote for? Most of them would say no. I would
That's
not.
a lie,
I do
Simon,
not believe
and you know
unless you
That's a lie.
unless you're a floating voter. If you're going to vote for Trump, you'll vote for Trump even if he's a convicted felon. If you're a Democrat and you're a Biden supporter, you'll vote for Biden even though he falls asleep at the podium. They are trying to. It's the floating voters they have to swing.
Yeah, well,
and both of them have their own. Both of them have their own problems.
After that Biden car crash, the way they're going to float is Trumpwards.
But after the Trump,
Simon, you're lying. Every poll, even Democratic polls, showed that Trump came out on top of that debate.
67%.
So I don't know where you're coming out with these weird statistics about, the floating voters are still not sure. I think they were definitive after that, Simon.
Look, this is the key point about this debate. In terms of the American electoral system, it was massively early. And arguably, Trump made a mistake in accepting this early date for the debate because it may have given the Democrats enough time to change the candidate.
Indeed.
Now, why was it early? Because the Democrat puppet masters, the clever people in Democrat towers, they wanted to get him on the stage. If he performed well, great. If he performed as they suspected, absolutely dreadfully, which is
then
what
they've
he
got
did,
time.
then they've got time to replace him. However, they're not that clever because they've screwed it right up because they still haven't got enough time. And what they didn't factor in is that stubborn old mule, Biden, who is he's the president of his own fan club as well as the president of America. He thinks he's great. He alone thinks he's great. He's not going easily.
Let me address something.
If he digs his heels in, which he is, he's going to be very, very hard to get rid of.
Let me address something that Samara just said, though, because Samara just said, Samara, I believe that Trump won that debate, but I still wouldn't vote for him. So it doesn't matter who comes out and says who wins or who loses the debates. I stand by what I said before. If you're a Trump fan, you're going to vote for Trump even though he's a convicted felon. But if you're a Biden fan, you're going to vote for Biden even though he's falling asleep at the podium. It's the floating voters that they have to win over.
Look, there's evidence that in this country, in Britain, that these TV debates that we kind of copied America with. We're still not getting them right.
No, they're terrible.
But, they're rubbish in this country. But they don't move the dial at all here. They don't make any difference at all. They're just a TV show. They don't even get very big ratings. 100 million. I think the biggest TV debate that we got here was just under 5 million. 70 million people live in this country, so 65 million people didn't watch it. So the dial doesn't move according to British TV debates. In America, they can decide the result, and the dial would make no mistake, mate. I know America. The dial will have moved massively after that debacle.
However, would you agree, though? Would you agree? And I'm going to say, I'm asking you this question as somebody who doesn't know. Would you agree that if you've got 40% either side, it's that 20% in the middle that you've got to convince, and you only need 11% of them to make it go one way or the other. Most of the people, if you're because you've talked about this before, Republicans will vote Republican. They will hold their nose when it's a convicted felon, but they'll still vote Republican most of the time.
Well, maybe they did that last time, but you know, the votes are more fluid than you think. And a TV debate can change the dial, as I say. And that TV debate changed the dial massively. And by the way, you talk about, convicted felon and all that. If it carries on like this, Trump, as I've always said, Trump's not just going to win on November the 5th. If he's up against Biden, it'll be a landslide. A landslide, because Americans, they're not stupid. They looked at that and thought, well, maybe I don't like Donald Trump very much, but at least he's not senile. I don't want a senile president. Anyway, time for a bad ad.
We're gonna make you want showing off, shock your boss. No resource. We're gonna make you wanna tell the world you're a classy girl. No resource. No resource. No resource. No resource. No resource.
So now I know where you get all your clothes from then.
Again, yes,
and your sense of style.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Yes, well, Alice Springs is right at the top of Australia, so yeah, they haven't really caught on yet.
Is that an Alice Springs?
That was an ad from yesterday, I'm not going to lie.
Is that an Alice Springs shop?
Yeah.
Mode Resorts.
Yes.
What I love about that is kind of like, at least Depeche Mode, quick fashion or hurry up fashion. Mode Resort is just fashion resort. That's where people resort. Is that the resort for fashion?
Is Is Alice Springs like the Milan of Australia, then, where all the fashionistas
one could say that, and anyone in the
one
comments
could say that. So it is the Milan of Australia.
Oh, very much so. And the
London,
Australians
New York,
will know.
Paris, Alice Springs.
Yeah. Time now for a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. This is the serious bit of the show where we have something that's sort of approximating a kind of grown-up debate, although we're not very good at it, are we?
We do okay.
The most shallow show on television, this is. But what we're going to talk about is kind of elections, because we're actually recording this programme right now on July the 4th. Happy Independence Day to all our American viewers. And this is also election day here. So we're having our general election when we change our government. We don't always change the government. Sometimes we vote the same government back in. But this time I don't think that's going to happen somehow. Anyway, but what it made me think about was that, you know, the hell that the poor people have to go through in these election campaigns. I mean, in America, I think their campaigns are much more grown up than ours. I mean, they have these big rallies, lots of razzmatazz, nothing wrong with that. But they have serious debates on the television. Over here, we have idiots like Ed Davey, the Lib Dem leader. He's going to end up with about 70 seats.
70 seats and a litre of water up his behind.
Yeah. So the campaign here has lasted about 6 weeks, and it has been so painful. Politicians, party leaders especially, they just regurgitate the cliches that they think will get them elected. So we've had 6 weeks of Keir Starmer going, growth, change, Rwanda scheme, expensive gimmick. He's like a doll. I keep saying this on my show. You know those dolls where you pull a piece of string and they cry and things like, and they say things. So he's like, oh, here's the Keir Starmer doll. Change, expensive gimmick, growth, that Rishi Sunak talking crap. I mean, they don't think about us, do they? It's so painful, don't you think, Simon?
Look, in some ways, we've got the candidates that we deserve.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have to say that, much as I dislike, detest and loathe him, the exciting thing about Trump and where Trump was able to get to where he did was he came out and he was a breath of fresh air. He wasn't he wasn't the candidate who had the practice soundbite. You caught him. He wasn't afraid to go in front of you. You caught him, and he would. You asked him a question, he would answer it, and he wasn't afraid to go in front of the cameras. I think he was I think it was said that as a president, he did more one-to-one interviews than any other president at the time.
Well,
and
yes.
Some of the stuff that he spouted was nonsense. But here, as you say, these practiced, polished sound bites have only made the 6 weeks feel like 6 years. And believe me, America, 6 weeks is one of the shortest times we've had for campaigning. Not only did it feel like 6 years, but also, if you are politically active, as all of us are, or politically interested, we just got regurgitated the same thing over and over and over and over.
Well, that's what they do
again.
here. They talk in sound bites. They do these childish stunts. As I say, in America, their campaigns are very long. Effectively, this one will be about 6 months.
Yeah.
But they do it in a grown-up way. They actually talk about the issues and what they'll do, and they have these rallies. They have a lot of TV debates, whereas we get some fat sliding down a water slide.
Yeah, I think Simon's right in terms of authenticity is actually what people crave. And this election has completely lacked any authenticity. I think Farage was able to show a little bit of authenticity when it came to how he was at least running his social media campaigns. I think he takes a lot of, big leaf out of Trump's book when it comes to campaigning. He tried to do that. He obviously didn't have that much time because of how short we had. We had 6 weeks. But, there was no authenticity. And change. Change.
Shut up! Shut up, please! Please just shut up!
Kevin.
God, they drive me nuts, these politicians.
I know,
And also the other thing, we're going to play a bit of Rishi Sunak in just a second, but this was the great low point for me in this long-running, or this 6 weeks campaign. Keir Starmer, who's going, I'm telling you now, tomorrow he'll be our Prime Minister. Worse luck. He's on BBC Question Time election special. Fiona Bruce, the host, he's asking, you supported Jeremy Corbyn when you were in his shadow cabinet. Did you mean it when you said you wanted him to be Prime Minister? She said, Sir Keir, it's a very, very easy question. It requires a straight answer. The answer is either yes or no. So which is it? Is it yes or no? Kiss on. Look, what I want to... Shut up and answer the question.
Literally.
They drive me nuts. Anyway, here's another low point. Rishi Sunak, who's basically a billionaire. He's pretty rich himself, nowhere near as rich as his billionaire wife. Sky TV is a subscription channel over here in Europe that costs you a few quid to join. And here's a billionaire pretending he couldn't afford it.
What did you go without as a child?
We went out with lots of things, right? Because my parents wanted to put everything into our education, and that was a priority.
So what sort of things had to be sacrificed?
Lots of things, right?
Can you give me an example of
All sorts
something?
of things. Like lots of people, there'll be all sorts of things that I would have wanted as a kid that I couldn't have, right? Famously, Sky TV.
Okay.
So that was something that we never had growing up, actually.
Sky TV. I think somebody dated it, and when he was a kid, Sky TV didn't exist. But trust me, his dad was a GP, was a doctor, and his mother owned a pharmacy. He could afford Sky TV. So what a weird thing it is.
Yeah,
that rich people... Keir Starmer's rich as well. I'm working class. Did he mention his dad was a tool maker?
Yes.
His
maker
dad
of
was
tools,
a tool
maker of him.
He made a tool in Starmer. That's for damn sure. Why have they got to battle to try to prove to us they had hard upbringing? I couldn't afford Sky TV. Not exactly the Victorian workhouse, is it?
I know, and this is where I think, you look at this programme that we make, and just to blow your... as much as it pains me to blow your trumpet, because you're authentic and because we are allowed to kind of bash you back and ask you questions and you ask us questions and there's no love lost in the debate, people find that entertaining and sort of tune in because of the authenticity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people have turned off because these politicians are just trotting out these sound bites, trying to cosplay as being normal and trying to say what they think normality is.
But we give each other a straight answer. So if I say to you, Simon, why are you such a moron? You explain it. You're kind enough to give me a...
F you.
Yeah. Sorry, you can say fuck, don't worry.
I'm not going to.
He won't say no. What is he? Do you go to church?
I need to say, I pray that Kevin O'Sullivan falls off a ladder.
Right, here's another campaigning high point. This is from a while ago, but this proves, there it is, Boris Johnson on the tripwire, stuck. So he tries one of these Ed Davey type stunts and gets stuck, and only Johnson could get away with this. I mean, this would destroy anyone else.
Have you heard that rumour?
Look at him. Look at him stuck.
Oh, I love that.
Have you heard the rumour that him or his team tipped the people who were doing the zip wire a few quid to make sure that he did get stuck?
Is that right?
Yeah,
that's what the rumour is.
See, no, that's smart, and I love that. I think that in Britain we want the everyman. We want the guy who gets stuck on the zip line.
everyman.
No, we do want the everyman. And
Boris Johnson, the every dick.
Whoa, okay. Well, look, the thing is, I think that Trump is a billionaire, Rishi is a billionaire too, but they're two very unlikable and then likable people. And it's really interesting because Trump just embraces the fact that he grew up on Fifth Avenue in New York, whereas Rishi tries to cover that up.
The thing about Trump is, he's like Farage. Yes, Trump's a very privileged guy, but he can talk to normal people. He speaks human.
Yeah.
And so does Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
The rest of them don't speak human.
And it is incredible that Trump can do that, as George Clooney pointed out. Here's a man who literally shits on a gold-plated toilet in the Trump Tower, yet has that everyman touch.
And good for him.
Well, listen, I'm not
He doesn't pretend he's not rich.
I'm not disparaging.
He doesn't pretend he's
By the
not
way,
out.
before we go to a break, we've got a very special surprise video. So let's play that.
News time with Julia Bradbury.
Time, God, my goodness. Okay, we all know about the lottery, but that amazing 20...
A microphone has failed.
Oh, no, hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So it's 2 owners, not 1. And Mr. Gardner's estranged wife has vowed to fight for her share of his money.
Oh, my word. That was on thank you, producer.
Yeah, that was on or for our American viewers, that. Yeah. That was on the very first day of a channel, a now, surprisingly now defunct channel called Live TV. There's Simon as a very young man, the star presenter, really screwing it up, real mess.
My microphone goes down, Kevin blames me. That's so on brand. That's so on brand.
He's still squirming about it. Who was the woman next to you?
Julia Bradbury, who of course has gone on to great things.
She did well.
She's huge. And
out of the two of you,
I did that show, and there's I was on the front cover of a magazine dubbed The Next Chris Evans, who, of course, is a huge star here in England. Yeah. And here I am on what just happened.
The next Chris Evans. Which Chris Evans were they talking about?
Yeah,
the dustman who lives in Canterbury.
Not Captain America.
The trash man, Chris Evans. Let's go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. We're going to dip into our mailbag once again. And once again, I want to thank you all for sending your messages. We get thousands of them every week. We really appreciate it. It proves you're engaged with the show. We love hearing from you. And if you keep sending them, we're going to read them out. So let's go. What do you got, Simon?
So I've got from Debbie Granite. Kevin, you and Samara made my Saturday date night happen in Scottsdale, Arizona, USA. Loved my mention last week. Simon, great smile, but please wake your ass up.
So, date night in Scottsdale. I know Scottsdale, Arizona. Brilliant place for golf. Brilliant place for golf. Well, great to hear from you again. And get in touch next week. Tell us how, I mean, you know, obviously we helped your date night work out, but tell us how it progressed. So give us a call or send us a message and tell us all about your date night. Who was your date? Is that your general boyfriend or maybe someone else? Does your partner know about it? Stop it. No, thanks. Thanks very much. Let us know how it went. Samara.
Indigo says, this Simon guy is outrageous. I'll check next time and see if he's on the panel. I won't listen to this rubbish and I will turn it off.
Well, there you go, Simon. You've got to raise your game. It's calling people narcissistic pieces of shit.
You know something? I love the fact that you swear you have the mouth of a sailor and like, one time, I swear, and everyone goes mental at me.
How dare you use that sort of language on this show?
Sharon Carey says, Ox. Yous ought to leave those two alone, but yous cannot help yourselves. Every news channel banging on about them. Yous are a disgrace, sitting on TV slagging people off, swearing and speaking a lot of crap. This is just complete trash TV. See you next week, Sharon.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, well done. You've got it in one. Yeah. That's what this is, trash TV. And we's are very proud of it, aren't we, Samara?
Very much so. Caroline. Oh no, do you still have that disgusting foul-mouthed idiot Simon on your show? He is a total idiot who does not get his facts correct. I cannot stand him. Get him off your show or I will block this show.
Well, that's your mother, right? I mean, come on.
Caroline.
I think it was Albert Einstein who said that intelligence is measured in people's ability to change. So tell her to change her mind.
No,
maybe you
stay right where you are.
You should change, Simon.
What next?
This is from the Duchess in Windsor.
Oh, the Duchess in Windsor. Okay.
Simon, you really have no real evidence or facts. You must be getting paid handsomely, not a dime, to look such a fool on this channel.
You get wishbone chickens.
I do. And I get to go to Gigolos.
We send it to you at your home at the bottom of the ravine.
The ravine.
What have you got, Samara?
So user says, Kevin, you're a top man, but calm down and stop interrupting.
So, what did you say? I'll try to use that.
Kimberly Luther says, great show. I love to watch you banter with Simon. He's a great sport. I am Kimberly Luther. Thank you.
Well, Kimberly, yes, he's here as the village idiot. Calls himself Cerebral Simon. We, of course, call him Simple Simon because that's what he is. If it was medieval times, you'd like being a stock and we'd be throwing vegetables at you.
If it was medieval...
In fact, let's do that next week.
If it was medieval times, you two would be arguing that the Earth was flat.
We can get into that.
You're telling me it's not? Are you saying...
Oh, God.
Are you saying
Please.
it's not?
Please.
Samara.
Linda has said Simon is just as toxic as Meghan. All right, Linda.
Well, Linda, I think you're right. You are toxic, Simon. Toxic, simple Simon.
This is from Annika Anderson. Totally agree with Simon about Mr. Markle. I wouldn't trust him for a moment. And we don't know anything about how he has been to grow up with. Paying for private schools and so on does not say he was a good father. And that's a really good point from Annika Anderson.
Well, it is a matter of record that they were very close.
Yeah.
And he obviously was a good dad. And, you know, it's a bit off of you to say he's a narcissistic bit of shit. He's a poor 80-year-old bloke who's had 2 strokes and a heart attack.
I just will never be able to reconcile with the way that with what he has said in the last couple of years. I just think it's disgusting.
Well,
I think it's
what
offensive.
about her? Simon, yeah.
So do you know this show she's made for Netflix about cooking and crap? It's supposed to be a celebration of friendship and entertaining. What the does she know about friendship? The only thing she thinks that knows about friendship is, you know, get rid of the friends when they don't suit you, send your entire family to Siberia.
And that's a good thing.
How about cook a meal for your poor dying father? I'd love to see that on Netflix.
But her father sells her out and rats her out all the time. If friends are bad and toxic, get rid of them, kick them to the curb immediately. And if family betrays you, get rid of them. Do not have negative influences in your life. Move forward as a good person.
Do you think that's a kind thing she's done?
I think it's self-preservation. And I think...
Self-preservation?
Yeah, do not have toxic elements.
Selfish. You've got some more messages.
Sorry.
Get on with the show.
Sorry. This is from The Last Sausage. I like Simon too. Love heart. He is the only person other than H.G. Tudor who sees that Markle Sr. is a huge self-pitying narcissist. I can't stand the Harkles, but part of liking someone, like Simon, is agreeing to differ. Yes, if you were everybody's cup of tea, people, you'd be a mug.
Oh, very clever wordplay. Very clever wordplay. Next up, Samara.
Dana says, I thought Simon was JJ when I was listening without seeing him. He gives a toothache, just like JJ.
You are the toxic one, O'Sullivan. I took my glasses off. What? This is from Emile. Amelia Gabush. She says, you are the toxic one, O'Sullivan. And then in capitals, leave Meghan and Harry alone. You're wicked. What other job do you have? Do you realise how many times you mention Harry and Meghan every second? Daily, you are evil. Get a job, ugly. And I'm doing her voice as well. But that's how she's saying it.
Is that how she speaks?
Yeah.
Get a job. I've got one thing. I've got about 5 jobs. So, Emile, all right? OK.
I always at least try to hear Simon out, but this is dumb. It makes me think he'll defend anyone. I thought that he believed the delusion, and now he's actually this dumb. She should see her dad and let her dad see his grandchildren.
Yeah, it's the only decent thing to do. So
but
you're wrong on that. Wait a second.
Whoa.
We're coming towards the end of another fantastic edition of What Just Happened? And we're going to conclude on another very special video. Take it away.
Good morning and welcome to GMTV's Pop Slot. I'm Simon London. Now, joining me today are 5 girls who are guaranteed to put a little zest in your lives. They became friends when they kept bumping into one another at auditions and went on to share a flat and eventually form a group. They're called Spice Girls and this is their debut single, Wannabe.
Wow.
Wowza.
Why were you sort of shoulder barging them? Yeah. Did you think you were playing football or something?
That's my idea of flirting.
It was very like, you know, you've got this and then in the last clip you're holding your chest up to that woman.
You know something? I became fairly good friends with them in the 90s because that was their first big TV thing they did. Yeah. And to the point where I bumped into Mel C last year.
Did you?
And she said, I remember you from 30 years ago. How nice was that? How nice is that?
So that was before they were famous.
Yeah.
So they went on to become very famous. That was when you were mildly famous and you went on to become completely obscure. So your career went in a different direction to the Spice Girls.
Like I say, I'm just here to add a little bit of balance, gravitas, and showbiz to this group.
Yeah.
Enjoy it whilst it lasts.
You should have introduced them and said, this is the Spice Girls, and as Britain's #1 wannabe, they've called their single Wannabe. If you want to be my lover, you can't be my friend.
No, right? You've got to get with my friends.
Is that how it goes?
Indeed, yes.
If you want to be... is that right?
Yes.
Is that what the lyrics are?
Yeah, you sound like a High Court judge being told about the Beatles.
Yeah.
If you want to be my lover... Is that how it goes? These Spice Girls?
I had to go to a Spice Girls concert. Right? I just got back from the States, right? So I sat there, like this bloke... this bloke in the middle of thousands of screaming little girls.
Oh, my word.
All of them about 6 with their mums and dads.
Yeah.
So I was like gelling with the mums and dads going, oh, blimey, it was dreadful. And on that bombshell, that is the end of this fantastic edition of What Just Happened. We'll be back, same time, same place, right here on Talk. So be there or be square. Bye-bye. What just happened?